So I've created an automated LinkedIn posting workflow, and I'm going to take you through how that's all put together and just give you a demonstration of how that works. So first and foremost, we're sitting in Airtable. So Airtable, in terms of an application, is very similar to Google Sheets, very similar to Microsoft Excel, except it's got a lot more features and functionality. I am using the paid version of Airtable. I get great use out of it, and I use Airtable for all my automations that I write because there's some cool things that we can do. We can integrate webhooks, and you'll see as I demonstrate how this works. So essentially what happens is we type in our post topic, our target audience, then we trigger this workflow just by clicking this radio box here. Then what happens in the background is we basically send that webhook, that trigger comes into here. We go out and we've got an AI agent that's connected to GPT-4. It's connected to the internet, and it basically researches that topic post and the audience, and it writes out a LinkedIn post for us to review. It then basically, based on that output, it then takes that and it actually writes a prompt to create an image, and we send those two fields back to Airtable for us to manually review, make any edits, and approve it. Once we approve it, it's a simple case of a drop down inside Airtable, where it fires off another webhook, and it uses that image prompt over here, and it actually generates that prompt. Once we've got that, we've got to put it into the right format. And then essentially what we do is we post it directly to LinkedIn. You'll see my LinkedIn here is disconnected because obviously in testing, it just keeps obviously creating live posts, which I don't want to do. So I've actually skipped the LinkedIn post. That would normally sit here. And then afterwards, we send a signal back to Airtable to say that whole workflow is completed successfully. So this would actually sit inside there, and then you'd get the success. But for want of this test, we're not going to do that. So first and foremost, I'm in test mode. So I actually have to manually trigger this workflow. So I have to click test workflow there. But first and foremost, we've actually got to go and give it a topic. So I think I've actually got one saved here. So let's just, that's not the right one. 5 tips. So let's go in here. Let's go Control V. So the topic I want to write on is 5 tips for cleaning companies to grow revenue with AI. And we want that for business owners. Okay, essentially we're doing that. Now what I've got to do, which is I've got to manually let it know that we're sending this information. When this is live, we don't have to do that. This is just a manual step because I actually want to show you in a test environment. Let me click that, and now the reason why I've kept it in test environment, because you can actually see how this workflow works. So it's using the AI agent, it's using GPT-4, it's searching the internet, and it's actually coming up with a LinkedIn post. So here we are, it's busy scribing at the moment based on those two inputs. It's using that output there, it's creating a prompt, and then it's going to send it back for us to manually review and approve. So if this has worked, we're going to see 2 more fields here. So here's these 2 fields. And you basically need to go through this and actually just read it and see if there's anything that you want to change. Typically, what I do is I go in and I look for these sort of double dashes, because that's a surefire way to let people know that you're using AI. Because to create that double dash, I'm not sure if you know it, I think it's 3 or 4 keyboard strokes to get that double dash. It's really, really difficult to do. So if you see people posting and they've got these double dashes, you know they've basically created that with AI. The other thing we want to do is we want to take out the US language, not language spelling, and we want to actually make it British. So get rid of the Z's. Stock outs. I'm preventing stock outs. Wasting preventing. I'm not sure what a stock out is, so I'd probably go and edit that. But for want of this demonstration, I'm just showing you how I'd manually go through this. And I'm not going to give it too much more review other than that. So now I'm happy with that changes. Then of course you can read the image prompt. So if you want to actually edit that prompt, I typically don't do that. I just rely on it. Now I'm happy with that. So you'll see that once I click that, it's now what we call in the under review stage. I'm now going to change that under review stage to prove. But before I do that, I've obviously just got to let them know that I'm going to be set. Whoa, sorry, let me just quickly stop this. If I can quickly how do I stop this? Yeah, I actually pinned information here. So now what it's actually doing, it's generating another post. I'm going to pause this quickly so I don't waste your time. I'll unpin it, and then we'll carry on with this workflow. That's processed. So we just go in here, and you see that I've pinned this. That's just a way of saying once I've done a test, I want to keep that data without having to run the workflow again. So I just need to quickly unpin that, right? Let me quickly save it. I'm now going to test this workflow by saying we're basically going to send some information. It's waiting for a trigger event. We go back into Airtable. We're going to click here and we're going to say approve. Now that we approve it, that's going to send the webhook information. You'll see that this starts firing. It's now going to generate an image. And once we've generated that image, as I said earlier, we're going to convert it into the right format. So it needs to be converted into binary. And this allows us to actually have a look at the image as well. And then we're going to send it to say that the post was successful, knowing that I've obviously bypassed LinkedIn at this stage. Also, while that's generating, I want to show you the types of posts that it creates. So if we go into my profile, you'll see these two recent posts that I've created. We'll go in here and let's just have a look at the quality of these posts. So there we go. This is talking about my area of specialization, which is around network automation. And I've written something asked it to write a story. And this was the image that it created with AI. So it's created, basically brought everything up here. It's really, really, if you read that article, it's really, really powerful. Not powerful, it's really accurate in terms of describing exactly what that post is and then creating it an image. This one here, maybe not as great. The content is good. Let me just click on here to show you what that looks like. The image is a little bit iffy, but it's still really, really high quality as well. There's one or two things that I didn't like about it. But let's go back to this post. Let's have a look where we're looking. So you'll see that it's actually gone through the process. If we click on this node here, you'll actually see what that image looks like. So 5 ways AI can boost your cleaning business revenue, automate scheduling, smart pricing, customer engagement, and inventory management, right? I'm not really keen on that clear background, but so I'd probably regenerate this image again. But most of the times, I'd say 90% of the time, these images come out really, really good. I might just change the prompt as well to say no clear background, so it can prevent these types of outputs. If it's worked properly, you should see here the button that says success. And there we go, it's been successful. Now, had that been connected to LinkedIn, that post would have been created with this body copy with that image that we just shown. It would have automated and posted it straight to LinkedIn. Another little tip as well, I like to sometimes use emojis sparingly, but emojis can be used. You can obviously come into here and while you're editing or reviewing this copy, add one or two emojis. I always say sparingly because too many emojis looks, I don't want to say childish, but I think childlike actually is probably appropriate. So that's it. Hope you enjoy it and we'll speak soon. Bye.